So, what do you do? You've lived more than half your life. You might have retired already, but you just know that there's something more. You're not done. And here's an opportunity to move into the second and third half of your life. But do what? What is your choice? On this edition of Natural Mojo, we're talking about how to find that perfect niche, that perfect place for you so you can go into the second and third half of your life empowered and with joy. Welcome. My name is Pamela Sylvan, and I'm your host for this week's edition of Natural Mojo. So let's talk about what it is that you'd like to do, or even better, how to choose going into the second and third half of your life. It's a very difficult thing. Most of our life, we really didn't have to think about what we were doing with our life. Either you figured it out on the get-go when you went off into secondary education, or you got married, or you became a parent full time, or whatever that choice was, and that is something that you've stuck with. So you've been defaulting every day, and now that those things have changed, maybe you are now an empty nester, and or you are retired, or you just want to make a change because you figured out that you don't have all the time in the world left. But how do you make that choice? What is it that you can do differently to help you find that right place? So I brought in 7 points or 7 steps that can possibly help you make the decision that you are looking for. So here's number 1. Reflect on your values and priorities. Find out the things that mean a lot to you or have meant a lot to you over the course of your life. A lot of what was important to us, we've buried or we've had to put aside to get the job at hand done, either raising children, going off to a full-time job, or both. So we haven't had time to really have the pleasure, I would say, or the privilege even, of choosing what we would like to do. And here's the thing, and I'm going to discuss this in another point, but not everybody gets to work in their passion. As much as we might flaunt that meme out there, work your passion, find your passion, choose your passion, it's not always feasible, is it? So, first of all, before you choose anything, at least make a goal at selecting the things that are important to you or have been important to you and you've just buried and put aside. So let's move into number 2. Identify your passions and your interests. Remember when you were young or even a child, all the things that made you smile, brought you joy, you had an interest in. Even the things that your parents or your friends said, stop daydreaming about that, put that aside, that's not feasible, that's not going to work. You need to do something sensible so you can make real money. Now, those days have gone. Most of us at this stage of life, we didn't have the privilege of being around technology or any of the things that we are now working with and have connection to. We can create more easily and affluently than we did in our past, in more so than our parents and our grandparents did. We have more choice. You don't have to be in a certain part of the world primarily to get some of these things done. Yes, I know some of you are saying there are parts of the world where people are still either in dire conditions, or if you're a female, you don't have the opportunities. Yes, if you're listening to me on this show and episode, chances are you are looking for options because you have options that you can take. So let's focus on that. What are some things that brought you joy? What are some things that made you happy? What are some things that made you think, I wonder if I tried that? And there it is. Maybe there's some hobbies that you're involved with that you can still partake in and just try. You don't have to give up your life or give up your job or move across the country to participate in some of these things. Start writing things down. Start working with some things on a part-time basis to see how it goes. Can you make money at it? Or if making money isn't a priority, maybe it's just something you want to plug into that you can impact the rest of the world with it, or friends with it, or maybe just even yourself, okay? Number 3 is take stock of all the skills and strengths that you have acquired over the years. It's amazing. If you were to sit down and audit all the things that you've learned, all the things that you know how to do, you would be shocked by exactly what you can put into creating something new. Again, over the years, we've just been so defaulted into just going into the next day, waking up and doing the same thing over and over and over. We don't see the entirety of our lives and the entirety of our strengths and the entirety of what we can possibly pull together and bring to a new table. Create the table that you want to work at and pull your chair up to. What do you want to do? What do you know how to do? What have you learned and you've just sort of poo-pooed away? It was way too easy, so you don't even see it as a strength. Write these things down. Create a list of your core strengths, your core values, like I said in the first one, and all the things that might be too easy in your mind, but is a huge gift and a huge skill and a huge point of value for somebody else. This is why I'm such a huge advocate about journaling, writing these things down, because if you leave it to your mind and store things in your mind, you will never get there. You will miss half of what you know to do. But every now and then, jot things down. I also advocate carrying pen and paper with you, or if you have a note taking app on your phone, to write things down as they come. You might be at the supermarket, for instance, or out to dinner with friends or at a movie, and the thought pops in, oh, remember when you were 16 and you truly loved doing that? Write that thought down. They are all clues taking you to your particular promised land. Consider exploring new opportunities. Usually, you'll find that nugget of gold when you take yourself to new places and try new things. You may not be a success at it at first. Nobody is. Nobody came into this world instantly and they were a huge success at anything, or they knew how to do anything perfectly. Yes, there are people that have inherent talents toward things, but they had to work at perfecting these talents and skills. So can you. Do you want to be a photographer? And you might say, oh, well, Pamela, I've never picked up a camera. Well, pick up a camera and start shooting things that bring joy to your heart, things that make your heart sing, things that lights up your imagination. Take a course, go back to school if you need to, join groups, go travel, go into your backyard and start focusing that camera on different points of views and sight lines. These are just one aspect to consider. There are so many different things. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to create a movie. Maybe you want to learn how to cook or bake bread or make designer bread. Or, I mean, I can stand here all day and unfold ideas for you and teach you how to stitch this thinking together. You see, that's just it. Most people don't know how to stitch their thinking together. And this is why I work with people, because you can't see your blind spots. You can't see what you're good at. You spend most of your time thinking about all the ways that you don't know how to do things, and you don't give yourself the opportunity to believe in yourself. That's why it's good to have another person on side with you to show you what you can't see. You do have a gift, but now it's time to stitch that together. This is the beauty of midlife. This is the beauty of this age that we're at. We have gathered so much in our basket of life. Now it's time to sort through and pick and choose and create a beautiful fabric to move forward with and create anew, because only you can create things in you in that particular way. I have a particular set of experiences and skill sets that I move through life with, way different than anybody else. No other person on this planet has that same point of view, perspective, and set of experiences stitched together in that unique way. So this is why I step forward in the manner and way that I step forward as the mojo maker. How are you going to step forward in your particular world? Not doing what I'm doing what you are called to do. Maybe it is just a nature life photographer out in the back country somewhere. So give yourself the opportunity to at least dream and vision and pull together possibilities. So let's move on. As you move into this next step, it really helps simplify your thinking. I think a lot of people scare themselves into thinking, oh, you have to just get out there and create this huge, big thing all at once. No. Set achievable, small, chunked down goals that you can get to. You don't have to do everything at the same time. Maybe the first step is just writing things down. Maybe step number 2 is doing some research or making some calls to someone or organizations or groups who are doing what you want to do. Maybe step 3 is purchasing a course or buying a book. And maybe step 4 is just starting, taking that first step and seeing how it feels, dipping your toe into the water of possibility. Can you do that? Of course you can. Maybe your whole goal for this season is to get the research done. A lot of people won't even go that far, right? They just poo-poo it. It's too big. Everything is too big in the beginning. Creating the Empire State Building, for instance, was huge in the beginning, but they laid down the foundation and then the plans and then the first block and brick. And then they went floor by floor until all of a sudden there was this grand building called the Empire State Building. Build your own Empire State Building, all right? Whatever that happens to be. Brick by brick, floor by floor, until you get there, all right? Seek support and guidance. I'm big on that. And, I'm a coach and I'm a mentor and I'm an accountability partner because I get the power of the other, the mastermind. Wherever there are two or three gathered, there is the mastermind. People can see what you can't see. People have different ideas and thoughts than you that have done things before you or that you haven't done that can give you guidance, that can hook you up to a new connection or a new vibration or a new thought or idea. You can't become what you want to become in isolation. And I know people try just sitting at their keyboard trying to do these things on their own and getting nowhere quickly. Get online if you can and search out those that can mentor you in the way that you want to go or the way you want to be or the way that you want to feel or the visioning that you want to create. Again, this is what I do with midlife women. Primarily, I'll do it with midlife men too, to create the vision. You have to do the work, but I can help you think your way through the steps. What is step one? What is the thing to do? Maybe the thing to do first is to get rid of the thinking, to switch up the mindset that's standing in your way, to rise and build the energy that you need to make those steps forward. If you are still here, you have still so much to give and so much to impact others with that you are holding on to. And this is what the beauty of midlife is. I call it midlife magic. You lived to a certain point and portion in your life, you still have so much to give and so much to unfold. Why are you holding on to this energy and power and magic? And as I'm talking to you in the background, out here in the wilderness, I hear a woodpecker, and that just brings me so much joy. I'm living my dream. In a million years, I didn't know how I would get here. It didn't matter. You see, we only try to dream as far as our little box will allow us to dream. Dream outside the box. Even if you're still in the box, dream outside the box. And one day, the dream will take you out and put you into a bigger box. I'm in the bigger box called, a lot of people like to say the wilderness, but it's Pam's wilderness. It's a beautiful place to be. I hear things here and I hear things there, and it inspires me. It inspires my work. It inspires me being on camera. I feel open. I feel expanded. I feel free. And it's exactly where I want to be. So dream your dream. Envision your vision. You don't have to take action right away if you're not ready to do it, but it shouldn't stop you from at least dreaming and writing it down. A lot of what you see in everything that I do, it was a vision on my wall first. I claimed it first. I claimed it in first. I gave gratitude for it first before I saw any inkling of this happen. And then I watched for the signs and the coincidences, and I followed my intuition, and I went into meditation and I got inspiration. And sometimes I was led into things that I thought, that doesn't even seem right or even possible, but I think I'll go. But that's where the trust comes in, and that's a whole other video, okay? But for now, at least hook up with those that can help you think the huge power and vibration of possibility thinking through mentorship and coaching. Okay? So let's move on to this point number 7, the last point for today. And today's final point is just keep learning. Embrace continuous learning. We live in a world where connection to information is no longer a barrier or an excuse that you can't get to a library. You don't need to. If you're watching this, you have access to the world. You have access to tons of people through videos and podcasts and books and courses and videos like this. There's no excuse. You can be learning all day long if you wanted to. Make a schedule for learning. What do you want to learn? Do you want to learn a new language? Do you want to learn astronomy? Do you want to learn about bird watching? Do you want to learn about vanlifing? Do you want to learn about camping? Do you want to learn about cooking? I could go on. Right? So you see the possibilities before you. The only reason you're not in that possibility is you haven't made a decision, you haven't made a commitment, you haven't indulged in the possibility of what is in here, in your inner world, okay? And connected up your mind to your heart and where your heart wants to take you. This is heart-centered thinking, and it's such a powerful way to live. It's a natural way to live. It's a joy-filled way to live. So those are my 7 points for today to help you start thinking on your way to what your second and third half of your life can possibly be all about. It's just a matter of having the courage and the confidence to say yes to what's been sitting here and here for a long time, but you were too afraid to make connection to it and say yes to it. And when you say yes to it, it doesn't mean that you have to take action on it and flip your whole life on its end, unless you want to. And if you've ever followed my story, you know that that's what I did. And here I am, still standing, still enjoying life, still exploring, still finding new things, still meeting new people, still traveling. And it's because I said yes. So I'll leave you there with that. And I'm inviting you to join me on mojoresources.ca. There's a free download for you called What If? What if you said yes to life? What if you laid claim to what your heart and your inspired mind is telling you? So download the What If questions and get started. At least you can do that. It's free. Just download it, and you'll also be on my mailing list for when I come up with an imagine-filled things for you to take action on. Okay? So again, thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Natural Mojo, and we'll see you next week. Have a great day. Bye bye.